All right. Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
The date is October 11th, 1492. Christopher Columbus is somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, leading a Spanish expedition into waters no European has ever crossed. 2 months at sea, a crew on the verge of mutiny, farther west than any European has ever sailed before. They're sailing through what will eventually become known as the Bermuda Triangle. Columbus doesn't know that yet, though. The name won't exist for another 472 years. But on this night, in October, Columbus pulls out his diary and writes down 3 things that don't make sense.
The first thing, his compass is wrong. The needles are pointing at 11.25 degrees off the true north, what sailors at the time called a full point of deviation. His crew, in his own writing, are fearful and depressed and did not say why. Sailors lived and died by the compasses. If the compass is lying, anything can happen. The second thing, later that night, Columbus looks out at the water and sees a stationary light hovering over the ocean. Not a star, not a ship, just suspended there, motionless. The source, in his own writing, never identified. And the third thing, at some point that same night, a fireball falls from the sky into the sea.
All right, tonight we are going to be talking about the Bermuda Triangle, and this is the first really documented source that we have in history of someone that's actually in that area describing weird fucked up shit that occurred there. I don't really know. What do you call this? It's not paranormal. What is this? It's not conspiracy.
I think it's full on. I think it's conspiracy.
Strangeness.
It's something unknown.
It's the unknown for sure.
Bless me. Welcome.
Take it away.
Welcome to another episode, not just an episode, of Horror Whiskey Company.
It can be both.
If you're new here, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Peter.
And we are 2 horror-loving, conspiracy-listening, true crime-obsessed dudes who like to drink with each other and get drunk and talk about these things and hopefully share some knowledge on you as well. If you just got here by mistake, please stay. And also, please give us a like, a follow, maybe comment on this. That way we can continue doing this without feeling sorry for ourselves. With that being said, what are we doing?
Tonight, we're getting drunk and we're telling you about the most famous stretch of haunted ocean in the entire world. We have a 500-foot Navy ship that vanished with 309 men on board, 5 planes that flew into nothing on a clear December afternoon, and a yacht called Witchcraft that vanished within a mile of Miami in 19 minutes. It's the Bermuda Triangle, and it's going to be a long night.
But first, let's talk about what we're drinking.
Jamie, what are you drinking tonight?
So I have a good old-fashioned fun twist on what's called a rum runner. Because we are dealing with the Caribbean, yeah. So I wanted to actually, like, full disclosure, I'm moving, as you can see, boxes near me. I just took pretty much everything I had.
Furniture, sorry.
Right. I took everything I had already. Asked the local Irish bar next to me if I could get a to-go half pineapple, half orange juice. And yes, they looked at me really weird. And I put together.
You said, no, don't worry. I'm going to put booze in it later.
Yeah. So I put together a rum runner, which, if you don't know what a rum runner is, it's pretty much just rum, orange juice, pineapple juice, and then you float the whole darn thing with grenadine.
Ooh.
And that's what or a cranberry. And so I put a little blue carousel in it to make it look blue. But instead, I cheaped out, and instead of getting a whole bottle of blue curacao with alcohol in it, I got a little squeeze bottle that's like, I'm guessing blue dye number 5 or something gross and terrible for me. And it's just sugar and blue dye. And I put it in this, and instead of it looking blue, it looks seafoam green, which I think.
So the traditional one is orgeat. Is that what you're saying? What's the traditional supplementary liqueur in it?
Grenadine.
Okay, so instead of grenadine, you did blue curacao.
No, I'm gonna put palm instead of grenadine. I just added blue curacao to make it look blue because it's already got orange juice in there. It's not gonna make it look any worse.
Yeah, dude, it's orange on orange. Yeah. What's the big deal?
I could see the orgeat would probably be good if we were making ourselves Mai Tais, but here we are. So I'm gonna put a little. I'm gonna pull
palm it up, dude.
The Universal Studios trick where you throw blood in it.
Ooh, gross. Oh, it looks so real.
It didn't.
I think it just went to the bottom. Which is surprising because I feel like Pomo should be lighter than grenadine. So it shouldn't sink quite as quick.
Well, I was worried about that. So we're just going to add a little coconut rum in there too.
Ooh, some boo.
Yeah. And then...
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like that. It didn't float. So I'm going to put actual grenadine in it.
Yep.
Because look.
I like that you just have grenadine. Did you get that from the bar you were just at too?
Ooh, oh, that's way too much. That was barely in.
You're going to be bouncing off the walls.
I sure am. And now look at it. There's blood in the waters, my friends.
God. Is that the name of it? Blood in the Water? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's such a kick-ass name. Man, mine does not have as cool of a name.
Well, come up with a new name then. All right, what do you got?
So I have a riff on Black Manhattan, but I'm going to be using Mount Gay black rum instead of traditional bourbon. So we're going to have Mount Gay black rum as well as Averna, which is going to be our classic. What's the word I'm thinking of?
Amari?
Yeah. It's in the Amari family. So, and then we'll
Italian
do a couple
herbal
dashes.
liqueur is what they call it.
Yep. So, we'll have that, a couple dashes Angostura, and then a little orange zesty poo.
Ooh.
So I'm calling this one the Damned Dutchman because, as we'll find out later in this episode, why I called this. One, we got some dark rum, which is what this character that we're going to be talking about later was running. As well, you got the rum runner. This guy was actually a rum runner. Plus, we got a little bit of bitterness because this guy was also kind of a bitter little bitch. I called this one the Damned Dutchman after him.
Yeah, nice.
Ooh,
how is it?
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. But I'm a sweet drink kind of guy.
I kind of I wondered how sweet it would be with the Mount Gay and the
Averna
as a Black Manhattan. I thought you were going to switch out bourbon and just put Mount Gay as instead of Averna. And I'm like, all right, that's a bold move, but I like it.
Just bourbon and rum.
Yeah, why not? Well, let's get this fucking show on the road. So, like I always say, without further ado, here comes Peter Daly.
We have a quick setting of the stage here. So the Bermuda Triangle, I guess it's more like that.
Like this?
I think it's more like that, honestly.
Not a vagina.
Roughly a triangular stretch of ocean in the western Atlantic Ocean, bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. It's somewhere between 500,000 miles and 1.5 million square miles. And right off the bat, there's something off because nobody can really agree how big the Bermuda Triangle is. Some experts draw it small, some make it the entire size of the Caribbean. But the legend doesn't really even have an agreed upon shape anyways.
Maybe it changes size depending on who looks at it.
Or how cold
maybe
it is.
It's a grower, not a shower.
There we go.
We both went there. We both went
depends. There. Yeah.
So what's the legend? Here's what the books and documentaries and your weird uncle on Facebook want you to believe.
Tell us.
Thanks, Larry. Over 1,000 people have died there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, more than 50 ships and 20 aircrafts have vanished, often sighted, rarely sourced.
So those are in parentheses then.
Yeah. They disappear without a trace, no wreckage, no bodies, no debris. Like you said earlier, compass malfunction. So navigation goes haywire, just like in the movies. It looks at it, just starts turning like this.
What movie?
Whatever movie, just the movies when people are like lost at sea.
I thought there was a specific movie we were supposed to watch for this, and I was like, oh man, I think I missed the memo.
And the big one, the most dangerous stretch of ocean on Earth.
Ooh,
Wow.
Okay.
That's a tough call. That's a tough say. All right.
So, what are the reasons for it being the most dangerous stretch of ocean on Earth? Pretty much at this point, take your pick. It's a grab bag. We have Atlanteans, we have aliens, time vortexes, methane bubble releases, parallel universes, naval conspiracies, aka government conspiracies. Definitely that. Something is causing this. Pretty much, from what I can say, everyone who's listening to this episode has heard of the Bermuda Triangle. I think it's probably the most popular, I don't want to say conspiracy theory. What do we call it?
Unknown
It's
story.
a mystery.
I don't know, like it's up there with like
mystery.
Yeah, it's up there with like the what am I trying to say? The pyramids. I'm trying to say the pyramids that are also
I
triangles.
think it's bigger than that. I think it's like Sasquatch and like Bigfoot. And then the Bermuda
Sasquatch
Triangle.
and Bigfoot are the same.
No, that's what I mean. Like Sasquatch / Bigfoot, and then the Bermuda Triangle. I think these are like legends that we hear of from the youngest age that we never really know what the deal is.
Yeah.
Do you have another one that's kind of like that?
Area 51?
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Skinwalker Ranch?
Deep cut.
Deep cut. All right. Area 51's a big one.
Area 51. So I'd put them, on the same, like, kind of par as those three are, like, let's call them the big three. So tonight we're discussing the three most famous cases that built this mystery reputation. So get out a big old fat cigar from Bermuda or Puerto Rico or Cuba, because it exists within the Bermuda Triangle. Take a big old sip of either the blood in the water, is that what it's called? Or the damn Dutchman, and let's get lost at sea. Before there was a Bermuda Triangle, before the advertising genius of Vincent Gaddis, who we'll get to later, before Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Steven Spielberg's masterpiece, before the legend existed at all, there was the USS Cyclops, which disappeared in March 1918. This is the case that some people point to and say, okay, can you explain this one?
The Proteus class Collier, a coal-carrying ship from the U.S. Navy. 542 feet long, longer than a city block. Yeah, most of them. One of the largest ships in the Navy at the time. Commissioned 1910, used in World War I. Her final voyage, 309 souls, 10,800 tons of manganese ore from Brazil to Baltimore. I don't know what that is. You know what manganese is?
It's just gasoline.
Why can't we just say that then? Why does it gotta be fancy?
Unenriched gasoline is called ore.
Oh. Well, 309 men, not one of them ever came home. That's the big...
To understand what happened to the Cyclops, you have to understand the man in command of her. And the man in command of her was, to put it lightly, a total fucking piece of work. His name on paper was Captain George W. Worley. That was not his real name, though.
That's not my name.
That's not my name. They call me George. That's not my name. Okay.
What a weird name
born
your fake name be. Sorry.
Well, I don't really understand how exactly it came about, but we'll get to maybe where he picked it up from.
Okay.
He was born Johann Friedrich Wickman. I'm guessing it's going to actually be Vickman, because he was born in Hanover, which is now modern day Germany, in 1862.
Oh, that makes sense why he changed his name.
Yeah, he jumped ship
He's a
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He's a German. Loves the First Reich, and then would have probably loved the Third, but he didn't make it that far. Jumped ship in the harbor of San Francisco and entered the U.S. illegally. By 1898, he had taken the nickname Worley, which was stolen from a friend of his. I'm going to put friend in quotation marks, because he seemed like a kind of total piece of shit, and he ended up running a saloon in San Francisco's Barbary Coast, which, if you don't know what that is, it's one of those places that doesn't really exist in the modern world anymore. Lawless. We're talking the early 1900s, pretty much the red light district of San Francisco. There are all kinds of opium dens, brothels, Shanghaiing. Can you describe Shanghaiing, Jamie?
That's a sexual term. I can't really explain
Yeah, okay. So, anyways, it is kind of a sexual term, but pretty much what would happen is that they would drug people that would come to their bar and then kidnap them and sell them as slave sailors. And this guy ran one of the bars that did that.
Oh, nice guy.
Yeah, super nice guy. So somehow from there, he went on to become a merchant ship captain, possibly running opium, most likely running opium, between Asia and the West Coast. His crews had a nickname for him, the Damned Dutchman.
There she is.
Partly because of his German heritage, and partly his openly pro-German views during World War I, in which America was actively fighting against Germany. We're going to kind of discuss this a little bit later, but I just think that it's kind of crazy they put this guy in charge of anything. He was a brutal commander. His crew claimed he punished sailors physically for any trivial offenses. Jamie, what do you think like a trivial offense would be for an 1819 sailor or a 1918 sailor? You think his shoes were untied?
Well, maybe he like wiped his ass with his left hand instead of his right hand.
Ooh.
Or used the wrong outhouse. Or maybe he accidentally slapped a fair maiden without warning her. And
maybe they tied his shoes together and it really pissed him off.
Maybe.
See, I'm going more silly. I'm thinking like McHale's Navy or something like that.
I'm thinking like full shock.
They put bubble gum in his hair. He was such an asshole that he had at least one previous mutiny attempt on a ship that he personally was in command of. And here's why it stops being questionable Navy captain and starts being this character study. The U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence, at the time of the disappearance, had opened a loyalty investigation on him, and the U.S. consul in Barbados flagged the suspicious number of German surnames in the Cyclops crew.
Wow. So February 1918, this ship, under his captain, left Brazil. The voyage was flagged with problems before it even began. Red flag number 1. The starboard engine had a crack in the cylinder. Inoperative. A Navy survey board confirmed the damage and told him to sail anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. The engine, the one of the engines doesn't work anymore. Go for it.
Fuck it. Red flag number 2. Unscheduled stop in Barbados. The waterline was above the Plimsoll mark. Explain the Plimsoll mark. I have no idea what that is. Do you? I assume you looked that up.
It is this very specific mark on any cargo ship that it pretty much measures, like, you know how trucks, as you're driving off the highway, have to check in at weigh stations.
Yes.
Right? Boats have the same thing, and they have these marks on their ship that measure if the boat is overweight. Like, it's overweight. It was way overweight. That's what. So the Plimsoll line.
How do you
I
know
looked it up.
Okay. So you read all this, smart.
Yeah, I looked it up, and pretty much, yeah, it was way overloaded. Like, I think it was. I don't know if there's so many different reports on it, but 5 to 10 feet, which is a significant amount. I know it's a huge boat, but like that's a pretty significant amount.
All right. So red flag number 3, The Cyclops had never carried manganese ore before. Manganese is heavy, dense, and shifts dangerously if not properly secured. That oil will be shaken is what it's saying.
Yeah, it's unrefined oil. It's like literally like gelatinous ooze at this point. So yeah, when it moves one way, it's super fucking heavy. Moves the other way. Yeah. So anyways, and red flag number 4, and this is the one that kills me and you personally. The one officer who was accompanying the manganese ore knew how to secure the manganese cargo. He had been locked in his quarters by Captain Worley over what records described as a trivial argument. So the cargo was loaded by people who didn't know what they were doing at the time.
Yeah, this guy sounds like a real fucking knucklehead.
The only
guy that knew what he was doing, and this guy's like, well, he made me mad when he said he knew what he was doing more than I did.
Pissing me off.
So I had to go ahead and lock him in, obviously, because that was the only smart thing I could do as captain.
Oof, he said my mother was not a fair maiden.
Oh, no. He didn't agree with me when I said Germany shall kill
totally
everyone.
Crazy. Yeah, so he locked the only dude that knew what he was doing with this manganese ore up while they loaded the ship full of this manganese ore.
So we're going to be talking about the disappearance. When they left Barbados March 4th, 1918. Due into Baltimore on March 13th. So a little under 2 weeks. One unconfirmed sighting on March 9th off Virginia. The spotter later denied making the report. They said the report and then they took it away. Okay. All right. So on March 10th, the day after, a violent storm tore through the Virginia Capes. The Cyclops was never seen again. No debris, no bodies, even the modern sonar, the wrecks has never been located. So they still look for this thing to this day. Still
has never been found, even today.
And they can find the Titanic, so it's not because of lack of trying.
It's down there with the other one that went to find the Titanic.
Exactly. That's too soon, dude.
Sorry.
They weren't going to find it. They were literally, they were going to like look at it, right?
I know, they were doing tourism.
Yeah. So the largest non-combat loss of life in the entire history of the United States Navy was this one.
Still today, the largest loss of human life.
Bigger than
We've
Ghost
fought
Ship,
in
dude.
multiple wars. The entire Pacific theater did not have as many casualties at one time as this one boat that was just hauling oil. We kind of are going to get into this a little bit, but the engine was broken, dude. They sent it out anyways. The ship's overloaded. The cargo was improperly loaded because the only guy who knew how to do it was locked in a room where he couldn't say anything. It seems really strange, but at the same time, it's very easy to see where this could have gone, right?
I know you're saying the cards are stacked against this ship. So it was set up to fail the entire time. However, this does not explain why it has never been located.
For sure. I think that's maybe the real mystery here is how the fuck did this ship never get found? Especially because, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, there's this big trench in the Atlantic. It's the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean that runs right through the Bermuda Triangle. But we have reports of this ship being near the Carolinas, and it's not in the trench anymore. Yes, I get maybe most likely the explanation for us is that the boat ran into a massive storm. There's a huge storm off the Carolinas with massive swells. I'm guessing that the manganese ore just all got thrown to one side and literally capsized or turned the boat on its side, or something happened and it sank really, really fucking fast.
Like this?
Right?
Ship?
Dang, dude, I can't see the other part of your arm because you did really good with where you were showing it. Exactly like that.
Like Ghost Ship, yep.
Dude,
I remember that movie.
Dude, that's such a cool fucking intro to that movie. I think that's one of my favorite horror movie intros.
Yeah. Well,
when everyone just gets sliced right in half.
Yeah.
Sorry to ruin the beginning of the movie for everyone, but it's
Yes.
only in like the first 5 minutes. So
Well, if they are fans of this show, then they know that your
they've seen
favorite
it.
thing to do. Your favorite thing to do is ruin
Spoil
things.
movies.
Is
Yeah.
Spoil movies.
Well, why am I talking to people that don't know what I'm talking about? So
Fair enough.
I'm just going to
Fair
spoil
enough.
it. If you haven't seen it, I'm really sorry. So, but we have a couple things to discuss. Like, there's a spotter that claimed they saw it in the Carolinas that then again denied making the report.
Yes.
What's up with that?
Never mind. I didn't. Maybe it was just my glasses smudge. Turns out
Is
there
this
was just
Velma?
a peanut. Turns out there was just
Velma
a peanut
on the
my
dock?
on my. I was looking at my microscope. I was like, I definitely see a ship. I was like, oh, I forgot that I taped a little ship on with piece of paper onto the end of my telescope to make me think a ship was there. So I took that off, and obviously it was not there anymore.
It's for a judgment in distance. If the ship's there, then if is it behind the ship? It put everything into context. It just made me think that like maybe Velma from Scooby-Doo made this report and was like, Jinkies, my glasses, and then like looked up and maybe didn't see it and then put her glasses back on and was like, no,
Velma,
never mind.
Velma never
Ghost ship.
She doesn't fuck up solving crimes. It's when ghosts knock her glasses over is where she has a hard time finding them. But she would never miss.
She would never falsely report.
No,
okay.
Absolutely not.
Shaggy
Don't
and
fucking
Scooby, 100%.
Not talk
though.
shit about Velma like that.
Fine. Okay, I didn't mean
I'm
it.
pissed off.
We also love Linda Cardellini, so it's totally fine.
Yes.
I think that's who that was, right?
That's who played her in the 2000s ones, directed by James Gunn, but not in the 60s.
On paper, though, the Navy's official statement, still on record, calls it one of the most baffling mysteries in the annals, not annals, annals of the Navy. Not, we think it was a storm. Why not try to say what you think actually happened? Because the U.S. Navy doesn't really have anything at stake to say it was an accident and the ship was swallowed by a storm.
Because they know something that they're not letting us know. Obviously. We all know that.
Okay. So what about the fact that he was let's call a German supporter? There was claims that maybe the ship was taken by the German
Germans?
Navy. The Germans. There was a suspicious number of Germans on the boat. We already know that is an actual fact.
How
and the
many?
Office of
Did it
Naval No, a suspicious number.
That is suspicious. You're right.
Any number maybe is suspicious when you're in an active war with Germany. So I guess there's that.
Don't be just saying things if you can't back it up, dude. Now I want to know.
I don't have the actual numbers.
All right.
But I'm just gonna say that it's pretty strange that there was an actual report.
You're
filed.
right. That is suspicious number of Germans. That's true.
that someone took the time to fill out a report saying that there was a suspicious number of Germans in the crew. Germany has denied anything to do with this, and there was no SOS, no flares, no distress call, really. The last communications that they had were experiencing a little bit of waves, nothing serious. A ship that size with a working radio doesn't go down without saying anything. So,
now was that a fight?
Even after 107 years, the Navy can't officially explain this. We have the theory that we believe, but it's a no body, no crime kind of thing. We don't have the boat. We don't have a smoking gun, but we do have a strong case. That's a 40-foot ship that vanished without a sound. But now, let's talk about 5 planes that did the same thing, but this time we have voices.
Ooh, we love voices. So, if the Cyclops gave the Bermuda Triangle its first ghost, Flight 19 gave it its first mythology. So this is the case of the close encounters of the third kind, used for its third act for an entire generation of Americans. Flight 19 made the Bermuda Triangle real.
Boom.
December 5th, 1945. 3 months after the end of World War II. So we're jumping a whole war here.
Yep.
Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale. Painting this picture for you, right?
Yep.
So 5 Grumman TBA Avenger torpedo bombers prepared for a routine training mission. Navigation problem number 1. Triangular 3-hour route standard. Modane. Pilots run through this every single day. So to you and I, this sounds like gibberish. To them, they know exactly what they're talking about.
100%.
14 men, 5 planes took off at exactly 2:10 p.m. But they should have been home roughly about 5:30. Not a single one ever came back.
Again, we have a very strange story of a commander that is kind of maybe a little less inspiring. Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor. On paper, he was qualified. 28 years old, 2,500 flight hours. He was a combat veteran of the Pacific War, which we just talked about.
He probably he probably didn't just complain about Germans should have won the whole time either. So
we don't have a whole lot of German ties with this guy.
Yeah.
What we do have, though, during the war, Taylor had gotten lost twice in combat in the Pacific. Both times he ditched his plane, and both times he survived. Also, both times he definitely lost his aircraft. Now, on the morning, you just say, I don't know, man. I don't know where I'm at. Because you run out of gas and you just jump.
Oh, Charlie No Planes over here.
This is literally a Charlie Brown if he just somehow made his way up the military ladder and was like, oh, geez, I guess I fucking ran out of gas again.
You sound like Morty.
Oh, geez, Rick. Oh no, he's kind of Morty actually, and there's no Rick to save him whenever he just like does dumb shit. On the morning of December 5th, Taylor shows up to the pre-flight briefing for this mission 25 minutes late, and he doesn't give an explanation. He sits down, most likely hammered, and asked to be replaced as the flight leader. Now this request is denied. There was no one available.
Most likely hammered. Is he a drinker? Do you know this? Do you have facts?
No, I'm from this story. It just makes me think that this guy maybe just drinks too much, but is a cool guy. So people like him and they keep promoting him upwards. I'm going to guess he's a blast to go to the bar with.
Yeah. Just fucking don't lose a plane again, Charlie. I won't.
It was one time. And then the next time he's like, it was 2 times. It'll never happen again.
You'll never catch me get away at 3 times.
So, anyways, that request is completely denied. There isn't anyone that can lead this mission.
The man who was about to fly 14 people into the ocean asked to skip this one. Makes sense.
I'm guessing he was hammered. So he boards his aircraft for a navigation training mission, also without a watch or a plotting board. 2 pieces of equipment most essential for navigating over open water in the 1940s. He had neither. And the final detail, it was also his first time flying this exact route. He had just transferred from NAS Fort Lauderdale from NAS Miami a few days ago.
So the bombing run went fine. Sorry, I just drank my entire rum runner and now I'm like, sugared out. But around 3 p.m., the plane turned for home. And that's where everything fell apart. So Taylor's compass, he claims, began malfunctioning. He looked at the islands below, saw a chain of small landmasses, and mistook the Bahamas for the Florida Keys. Convinced he was over the Gulf of Mexico, he was not.
Nope.
And he turned northeast to get back to Florida. He was actually pointing his entire flight further out into the open Atlantic.
Yeah. So
this guy.
The reason why this case is also so crazy is because we actually have voices for this case. Around 4 p.m., Fort Lauderdale Tower starts picking up confused radio traffic, and these voices are haunting. One of the student pilots, his voice tense, says, "I don't know where we are. We must have gotten lost after that last turn." Another unidentified pilot, frustrated, says, "Damn it, if we could just fly west. If we could just get home. Fly west, damn it." And Taylor's final transmission at 6:20 p.m., and I feel like he's said this before because it's just, he knows exactly what he's saying here. "All planes close up tight. We have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together."
That's a guy who knows he's about to die.
Well, it's also crazy because he's just like, fuck this. Let's not worry about one of us making it back. Like, we're all going to die together. On a fucking training mission.
How is one person going to survive? They're just going to catapult him off of the plane?
I don't know, go in different directions. If the one guys know that they're fucking, like...
Yeah, it's true.
Off course. Because we know that they do know they're off course.
So his own students figured it out. They were yelling the right answer over the radio. "Fly west, fly west." The student pilots have correctly identified their location. Taylor would not listen. Why would you why would you continue to follow him?
Because he's hammered.
Yeah. Jesus. Captain Edwards Powers, a Marine Corps officer in the flight, actually outranked Taylor, but Taylor was destined mission commander. Naval discipline demanded the flight follow him. Powers could not override him.
This is literally when your drunk friend is leading you around town and you're like, "Where are you going?" He's like, no, follow me. Come on. We're going over. That's an alleyway. That doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, no. The best bar's over here.
Yeah, but I feel like in that situation, you're just like, you're following him because you don't want him to die. Where in this situation, if you follow him, you're gonna die.
Yeah. I guess there's that. But they don't really have another option.
Yeah. So ground stations in Florida triangulated their position. They knew where Flight 19 was. They couldn't get the message through because of the radio interference. Flight 19 turned west far too late, ran out of fuel over the Atlantic, ditched in heavy seas. At night, all 14 men were lost.
At this point, the Navy launches a search. A PBM-5 Mariner. Have you seen this thing? A flying boat. Yes, you heard it. It also disappeared. Most likely cause was a mid-air explosion. So apparently these flying boats, the PBM Mariners, had a nickname, aka flying gas tanks. A passing ship reported a fireball over the water around the time that the Mariner went off radar from Fort Lauderdale. The entire death toll for December 5th, 1945 was 27 men. Again, like, we didn't really hit this point, but like, the ship disappears. We don't know where the fuck it goes. And maybe there's a report of it potentially being like exploding midair. So back to the initial test flight. The original Navy report was clear. Pilot error. The disaster was Taylor's fault. And that should have been the end of it. But it wasn't, because Taylor's mother fought the Navy for years to clear her son's name. She petitioned, wrote letters, and lobbied. And eventually, under family pressure, the Navy revised the original report. The new conclusion was cause or reasons unknown. Now, these three words became the seed from which every Bermuda Triangle theory grew from.
Pilot error. Solved. His mom gets the report changed, and now it's an unsolved mystery.
It's just ridiculous.
Well, I love that show.
Right? But like, at the same time, you're like, oh, no, we know what happened. We're trying to be nice to this lady who was probably like on her deathbed. Be like, hey, we like don't know what happened. Maybe it wasn't your son's fault. And then they've just forgot to go back and change it after she died or something. I don't really know.
Well, you know that a happy wife is a happy life. So if you have a mom sitting there, just like not taking no for an answer, like, yeah, the best thing is just call it like, instead of being Taylor's fault. And this, like, yeah, you're right. We'll just call it an unsolved mystery.
Yeah,
I get it. Get her off your back kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it sparked everything.
In 1962, a writer named Alan W. Eckhart wrote an article about Flight 19 for American Legion magazine, and he fabricated quotes. Eckhart claimed Taylor had said, "We are entering white water. Nothing seems right. We don't know where we are. The water is green, no white." He also claimed Navy officials had stated the planes flew off to Mars. Obviously, neither of these things were ever said. Eckhart invented them. Yeah. Every alien abduction theory about Flight 19 traces back to those fake quotes. And then, in 1977, Steven Spielberg released Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And the climatic, I can't say anything right now. The climatic scene shows the pilots of Flight 19 stepping out of an alien mothership, unaged, returned by aliens decades later. That single movie cemented Bermuda Triangle equals aliens for an entire culture.
Having seen that movie, like, I haven't watched it since we've done this study, but I do remember seeing that and be like, oh, dude, who are those guys? And then you get to know who they are, and you're like, oh, yep, Bermuda Triangle is definitely aliens.
When's the last time you watched that movie?
I'm going to say 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think 30. I think I was in high school last time I watched it.
I was saying 20 because that would have put me in high school at like 15 or 16.
All right, so I'll say 25 years then.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so we watched it at the same time in high school.
Yeah.
Anyways, this whole story is just, I think we don't have to spend a whole lot of time discussing this one. I think we get what happened across the board. And there was just an angry mom. And man, mama ain't happy. You're not happy.
So you think he just took everyone the wrong way until they ran out of gas? And then they all just died.
Now, I have some different theories about maybe why he took people the wrong way. You know, we've talked, and we see it consistently in reports of accidents that are coming out of the Bermuda Triangle. Not just the stories that we're going to talk about tonight, but pretty much across the board. There is certainly something that happens with navigational instruments that throws things wonky in the Bermuda Triangle.
No, but that won't explain. Sorry. I've been moving all day, so that's why I'm yawning. Yeah. It's not you. That doesn't explain the boat jet disappearing.
No, but those things are just literally like fire cans. Like, you pretty much are expecting them to blow up most of the times you take off.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then they wouldn't have them anymore. And you still see those things all the time in movies. So you're the skeptic. I'm the one that I'm playing the, hey, this shit's real.
This thing is ridiculous. Like, yes, they still have them, but not in the same way. From everything I've seen, they are notorious for blowing up. Because the gasoline sloshes in them so much.
What a shitty fucking... You think they would have fixed it by now.
They did. They have new designs. Anyways, I think that for the most part, the plane definitely blew up that went to go find them. That's even crazier because you already have a bunch of ships or like planes that are lost at sea, and the one plane you send out to go find them also just blows the fuck up. But I do think that is what happened in this case.
Well, did they ever find like anything for any of these planes?
We will get to that a little bit later. But no, I would say no. There has been nothing specifically identified to either of these crashes. Not just the bombing planes, the Avengers that went out, but also the PBM Mariner. They don't have anything that says pretty much how this...
Okay, so why then do you think Steven Spielberg decided to go with this story?
Because it's kick-ass?
Because it's kick-ass that all those people died.
No, it's kick-ass that aliens may have abducted all of them. It's just like even a happier ending that they all got kidnapped or abducted by aliens in the Bermuda Triangle than the fact that like there was maybe some user error by the captain leading all of these guys, and then the plane maybe blew up. That's a
So
lot
how did they?
nicer to believe that aliens did it.
Well, how did they end up at Devil's Tower then?
Because they got abducted by aliens and they've been living with them for a while.
And so that was the place where they were.
They're also traveling through time at that point because they haven't aged at all. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit funky.
You're not convincing me on that one. That was a bad way of explaining it. So,
Okay.
Flight 19 has an explanation. A bad pilot with no watch, no plotting board, who had never flown the route, panicked and led his flight into the Atlantic, right? What?
Yeah. I was putting up all the different evidence points you had.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I thought you were telling me
like
to
he
stop or
thinks
something.
the Bahamas are the Keys, and that's just not where he was at. Again, I think he was hammered.
So the rescue plane likely exploded midair. We're confident.
I'm looking at these planes like what the original ones, not the ones that have like been updated, right? We're talking about the original ones, and
So
they
can
look
you real quick?
like
Can
actual
you
death
pause?
traps.
Will you look up just how many of these planes blew up? How many?
How
It's
many
probably just gonna say the one.
PBM Mariner explosions have there been? All right,
Like you
we're
said.
looking. Oh, all right. So this is going to be our Google AI overview.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, robot.
At least 2 well-documented catastrophic explosions. One is literally this one.
Yeah, no shit. No
Okay.
shit.
The other one is in the San Francisco Bay the year before in a highly documented accident, killing the pilot, Lieutenant William Hess, and 8 other Navy crewmen.
So that's not that many.
That's not that many, but
No, so yeah, so I think that's flawed then. So I'm not confident. I'm convinced that something flies over this is bad. So we still don't have the planes though. We have 27 men. We have a theory. We have 0 proof.
So far, we've covered 2 of the biggest cases in Bermuda Triangle history. Both have explanations we can argue about, but neither has a wreck. Now, let's talk about the guys who turned this stuff into a global panic, into the story that we know today.
Now we're fucking talking. So here's the thing about the Bermuda Triangles. The cases are real. The deaths are real. The Cyclops generally vanished. Flight 19 generally never came home. But the Bermuda Triangle, as a concept, as a thing, as a place on a map with a name and a reputation, it did not exist before 1964. It was invented by a guy with a typewriter and a deadline.
Yep. His name was Vincent Gaddis. He was born in Ohio, 1913. Now, before he became the man who invented the Bermuda Triangle, he had an interesting resume. He was a newspaper reporter, then a PR copywriter for the Studebaker Packard Corporation and the Mercedes-Benz Sales of Indiana.
So
the Studebaker Packard Corporation is another car company. Mercedes-Benz, also a car company. Let me say that again. The man who named the Bermuda Triangle was a car ad writer. Now, in February of 1964, Gaddis published an article in a pulp magazine called Argosy titled The Deadly Bermuda Triangle. And he actually drew the boundaries and he picked 3 points. Like we talked about, Puerto Rico, Bahamas, Miami.
Have you heard that? You don't have TikTok, so you haven't heard that song that's like really popular about Puerto Rico. So
are you going to tell me?
Every time I hear it, it's like,
Puerto Rico.
No, it's my first time in Pico, capital of Puerto Rico.
No, I have no idea what this song is.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a new song?
No, it's just some guy that has a TikTok where he writes songs about the place he travels at. And he happened to travel to Puerto Rico and wrote a song, and everyone just like loves it on TikTok.
Pico is the capital of Puerto Rico?
No, Pico is obviously just my dumb Wyoming brain not remembering exactly what it was. Something, in Pico.
San Juan is the capital of Puerto Rico. No, but it's like literally as I'm typing it in, it's saying song where the guy talks about the capital of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Vincent Gaddis coins the name the Bermuda Triangle, and he claimed over 1,000 have died there. His evidence, well, mostly vibes. Argosy published the headlines like "I survived a werewolf attack" and "Real life tales of atomic mutants." This is the kind of magazine that published this story, and it's the kind of magazine that at the time you bought at a bus station for a few cents.
It's like the National Enquirer.
It's the perfect, yeah, it is definitely the National Enquirer before National Enquirer exists.
And so, and we as a culture looked at that magazine and went, yep, sure, haunted ocean.
Yep.
Gladys's article was a curiosity. To go global, the legend needed someone else. That someone else was Charles Berlitz.
Bam.
So, in 1974, Berlitz published a book called simply The Bermuda Triangle. And it sold 20 million, restate that, 20 million fucking copies. That's a shit ton.
That's a lot.
Especially in 1974.
In 74?
All right, so Berlitz was descended from his family that founded the Berlitz language schools. And this is true. This is this historical record. He first heard about the Bermuda Triangle stories at his travel agency. Customers were asking him to book flights that avoided that part of the ocean. The man who created the Bermuda Triangle panic was a travel agent.
Yeah, so pretty much we have like a car ad writer who's got a name, like a knack for names, I would say. I think I would have been good in car ad writing, I think in the 1950s. I like naming things. It's one of my favorite things. So we have a car ad writer and then the travel agent who writes an entire book about it to make it famous. But neither of these men are really like historians. They're just guys that decided they want to take this on.
And Berlitz's book was charity, not rigorous. He included the Mary Celeste as a Bermuda Triangle disappearance. Don't do that to us.
Nope.
The Mary Celeste was found drifting and abandoned in 1872 near the Azores. Was that right?
I think it's pronounced Azores. That's how we pronounced it during the show when we did it.
The Azores.
For those that don't know what we're talking about, the Mary Celeste, go listen to our episode where I pretty much made Jamie guess everything and he had to drink if he was wrong. And he was wrong a lot.
Well, that's why I don't remember anything about that because I drink a lot.
I set up a drinking game and it didn't work out.
Yeah. So 2,000 miles from the Bermuda off the coast of Portugal.
Yeah, like we talked about, this ship was found like near Portugal, all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. It's nowhere even close to Bermuda or the Bermuda Triangle. Even at its most generous like scope, it's not even close. So the story might have ended there with 20 million copies sold. The legend went global. And then a guy named Larry Cush decided to actually check the records. Now, Larry's an aviation researcher. He's a librarian and a pilot at Arizona State University. Yeah, dude, he was hitting Havasu during spring break. In 1975, he published The Bermuda Triangle Mystery Solved.
Good for him.
Now, what he found was actually devastating to the case. Now, the planes that vanished mysteriously had actually crashed on land in front of witnesses, one off Daytona Beach in plain sight of hundreds of people. These are like cases that not the ones that we've talked about, but the cases that are cited in the book that Berlitz had written. The Mysterious Disappearances with major storms documented in the same day. So these are storms that somehow these boats go missing, and Berlitz never mentions that there's a storm in his book. Then we have ships that are listed as lost that had actually returned to safe port. Berlitz never really bothered to check if any of those ships that had once been claimed lost had ever made it. Cush's summary is pretty much one of the great burns in skeptical literature. He claims that if Berlitz were to report that a boat were red, the chances of it being some other color is almost a certainty.
Conspiracy writer shade, baby.
So pretty much, yeah. So at this point, we have a decent amount of stories, but we kind of get to where the creation of the Bermuda Triangle takes place. And my big thing is that, like, we get to see, yes, these things are invented specifically by marketing people. But does that take anything away from the actual tragedy that is the Bermuda Triangle? Or does it take anything away from what the mystery is?
No, I think so. As a travel agent, he probably kept booking people that went around that area, and he finally was like, he looked it up and he got like grossly intrigued by it. And so he then was like obsessing over all the things he learned about it. He's like, I'm going to fucking write a book about this.
Yep.
That's my thought about the travel agent on it.
I completely agree. Because like Vincent Gaddis, the guy that coined the term, like probably heard these stories of the two things that we even talked about and was like, yeah, these are like fucking awful stories. And there's more stories than just the ones that we talked about in that time frame. So you see a specific area of land that is creating all these weird disappearances. You make a story about it as just a random car guy or ad writer. You're like, I'll make a couple bucks, pitch this to a magazine, or even just do it for fun. And they're like, yep, we'll pick it up. Because I don't imagine that, like, you look at the National Enquirer and you look at the stories that are in it. Do you think that the writers believe most of what they're publishing, or are they just like, I don't know, man, let's throw some crazy shit at the wall and see what sticks?
I feel like Mad Magazine or something like that. Like, started with a story. They're like, we could take this story and we can fabricate it because there's a little bit of some, like a story where people have heard before. But if we take it and we use that as like our base and then we just twist it just enough to where it becomes like a game of telephone where people are like, oh, did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? To where it starts from Flight 19 being disappeared, no one found, to obviously aliens or obviously.
Exactly.
That's where I see it.
The last, and I think that you're spot on with that. It's a game of telephone that Berlitz and Gaddis pretty much just ran with and let it go. And didn't really bother to check on things. They just reported what people were telling them and didn't bother to look at the records. My last question is, what do we think of like this Mary Celeste case being included in Berlitz's book? Does it kind of discredit the whole thing, or does it just say he's just grasping at straws at this point because he needs more validation?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a more validation thing. I think, like we said before, it's taking a credible story and like throwing twists at it to make more and more people believe it.
Okay.
That's where I'm at with it, especially because we know a little bit more, or you know more about it than I do, because I was obviously hammered. But
well, the Mary Celeste just doesn't even take place anywhere near where this story is taking place. So I don't really know why it was included, other than it's another disaster at sea. Or mystery at sea.
Oh, pardon me.
So, you're
all right. Continuing on. So, Lloyd's of London insures literally anything. Insured Keith Richards' hands. Insured Bruce Springsteen's voice. Hello, in Atlantic City. That's it. They examined the Bermuda Triangle and concluded not strategically more dangerous than any other piece of the ocean. They do not charge unusual rates for that area. So,
and
what does that mean? That means that you can go there and it will be the same amount as if you're going to go to Barbados. Like,
let's say people are booking travel insurance and they're flying through the Bermuda Triangle. You don't get charged more for flying through that area, pretty much, or traveling by boat on a cruise through that area. And they are 100%, I don't want to call all insurance people grifters, but they're in the business of charging more whenever they can. And the fact that they don't says a lot. And the NOAA agrees. Now, the NOAA is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Pretty much, it's a regulatory agency that is focused on like weather forecasting and things like that. They say that there's no statistical evidence of unusual disappearances in this area, which means that maybe the ocean's just fucking dangerous.
Turns out. Like that we still find different species of fish, like to this day, that they've never seen before.
Oh, we have explored, what do they say, like 20 to 30% of the ocean?
That's it.
I don't know. James Cameron went really, really far deep in like a submarine. Like, remember South Park made fun of it?
Yeah.
But he actually did it. I don't know.
I guess
we just
that's
haven't explored that much.
That's why the government now is saying that aliens are living in the ocean. So,
well, we'll get to that at some point during this episode.
I'm so sorry. So, a car ad writer named it. A travel agent made it famous. A librarian dismantled it. Lloyd's of London doesn't charge extra. Case closed, right?
Except for the cases that aren't closed. The ones that we still can't explain, even with everything that we just told you. Now, we've spent the last part of the episode telling you why most of the Bermuda Triangle is built on bullshit. The Cyclops was most likely storm and bad cargo. Flight 19, probably a bad pilot. The big numbers, mostly made up. But now we're going to tell you about a 23-foot boat that vanished in 19 minutes within a mile of the Miami coastline, and we and the United States Coast Guard still don't know what happened to it.
December 22nd, 1967. 3 days before Christmas. In Miami, Florida. Dan Burke was a wealthy real estate developer and hotel owner. Money, connections, property on Sunset Island in Miami Beach. Owned a 23-foot luxury cabin cruiser called the Witchcraft. So the Witchcraft was considered, in the language of the manufacturer, virtually unsinkable. Special flotation devices built into the hull, engineered to never sink. On that night of December 22nd, Burke invited his friends, Father Patrick Hadarag. That's a Scottish name, right?
I think it's Padraig.
Padraig Horgan, a Celtic Catholic priest, out on the boat. The plan, motor out to buoy number 7. Navigational, less than 1 mile from the Miami shoreline. Kill the engine, watch Miami's Christmas lights from the water.
Oh,
that was it.
So romantic.
Less than a mile out, calm seas, clear weather. 2 friends, Christmas lights.
But at 9 p.m., the Coast Guard receives a radio call from the Witchcraft. It was Burke. His voice was calm, mellow, with no urgency. He says, "We hit something, not an emergency, need a tow." Now, the Coast Guard dispatched the vessel. Now, this vessel arrived at buoy number 7 19 minutes later. There was nothing there. No boat, no men, no flare, no life jackets, no oil slick, no wreckage, no debris of any kind. Calm water, clear skies. No evidence that anything had ever been there.
The Coast Guard launched a massive search. 24,500 square miles of ocean over 6 days. Aircraft, vessel, sonar, every available resource. They found nothing, not a piece, not even a splinter. So the Coast Guard official verdict, listen closely because the wording is generally strange, reads, "They are presumed missing, but not lost at sea." They didn't say lost at sea. They said missing, but not lost at sea.
Not lost at sea.
Yeah. The wording implies they don't believe the Witchcraft was at where it was reported to be. Where they think it was, they don't say.
Now, the U.S. government or the Coast Guard or the Navy, as we talked about earlier, doesn't phrase things this way unless something is truly weird. If we've cleared away the supernatural, aka strange things that are happening in the Bermuda Triangle, let's not even get into that. We'll talk about that later. What's left is foul play, murder, and conspiracy. And here is where the skeptical explanation is even darker than the supernatural one. Now, 2 months before Burke's disappearance, the Miami estate of millionaire Willis H. DuPont was raided by 5 armed bandits. Now, the family was tied up. $1.5 million in rare coins was stolen. Massive, professional. It was an organized hit. Now, 1 month after Burke's disappearance, a nearly identical robbery hit one of Burke's neighbors on Sunset Island number 4. Same MO, same wealth tier, same neighborhood. Now, Barack was a wealthy real estate developer in the 1960s in Miami. Do you know what 1960s Miami real estate development was?
Cocaine.
Mostly mob adjacent and super cash heavy. People were buying houses with literal cash, known for shady money laundering through nightclubs, hotels, and yes, of course, real estate. Barack was wealthy. In the 1960s real estate, it was a heavy cash adjacent type industry, and 2 robberies happened within his same kind of wealth class. We hit something seems a very oddly calm way to describe what might be a panicky moment, unless this whole thing is just a total mystery. He brought a priest with him. I'm not exactly sure why, but does that explain something about what they were doing out there? I really don't understand anything about the Coast Guard's missing at sea, or missing but not lost at sea verdict, because it seems to imply that the boat was not where it was reported. Where could it have gone?
Did the boat just vanish?
Yeah.
They'd never seen it again? So yeah.
Never seen it. Yep.
And I guess it was the 1960s, so they don't have any like recorded record of it like leaving or anything like
No,
that.
for sure. Like that's the crazy thing though. Even if it was like a mob hit, there's, like you said, 24,500 square miles of ocean searched. Bodies drift. They come up. Fuel leaks, fire leaves, some kind of oil slick. There should have been something pretty much if they didn't directly find the boat.
Giant yachts just don't disappear on a peaceful evening.
Yeah.
Something's askew. I call erroneous.
Erroneous.
Yeah.
Even,
erroneous.
Again, even if like their boat was
Erroneous.
sunk, like
Yeah.
they would have the bodies would have been there, or they would have found the boat, and they have radio contact. Like 19-minute that you would have seen something. This one is
This is where the
one
aliens
that
come in.
really does fuck with me.
They pulled up into either that or Atlantis. Could be Atlantis. They pulled
They
them
were
down.
saying that maybe like also because this Barack was like one of these developers and he knew that people were coming after him, that maybe he had faked his own death potentially.
Oh, and had people lift. They took one of those jet submarines and they pulled his yacht up, and he lives in the Barbados to this right now.
Could be. Probably got lost
So
in the
that-
Bermuda Triangle. What if you faked it and then
Oh.
also got lost in the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, obviously this has to do with the Bermuda Triangle, or else we wouldn't be talking about it, correct?
But that's what I'm saying, man. Maybe he pretended something that actually came true.
Oh, I could see that.
At this point, we have 3 cases. We have the Cyclops, Flight 19, and the Witchcraft. The first 2 have explanations that may be believable, but the Witchcraft really gives me nothing. There's no wreck. There's no theory that really holds things together. There's no evidence. There's no debris. There's no body. And there's definitely not any closure. And it happened the most recently within living memory, in sight of one of the most heavily trafficked coastlines on Earth.
The Witchcraft is the case the skeptics can't quite kill. So now let's talk about the theories that believers haven't been able to kill either.
At this point, we've done, I would say, the responsible thing. We've laid out the cases, put some explanations forward, shown you who built the legend and who tore it down. But what do we have left now? The cases that didn't fit and the theories that won't die. Let's get a little unhinged here. Theory
Ooh.
A revolves around AUTEC. Now, AUTEC is the Atlantic Undersea Test Evaluation Center. It's located on Andros Island in the Bahamas. It's a quiet, sleepy Caribbean island, population around 8,000 people. And we have a massive, top secret, legitimately top secret U.S. Navy facility called AUTEC located there. Now it is a classified Navy facility. Officials, they test submarines, weapon systems, sonar arrays, and it sits at the southwest corner of the tongue of the ocean, a deep underwater trench inside the Bermuda Triangle. Now, really what this is it's actually the beginning of the Puerto Rican Trench is what they call it. But you can't just visit AUTEC. It's heavily classified. Civilian access is essentially impossible. Now here's the conspiracy theory, what you talked about earlier. AUTEC is the U.S. military's underwater equivalent of Area 51. They're reversing alien technology recovered from underwater UFO crashes. The classified weapons testing is actually the cause of the Bermuda Triangle interferences and disappearances. And ships and planes that get too close get vaporized immediately by experimental Navy energy weapons.
That's crazy.
All right, Jamie, is this just a submarine base?
I don't know because I've never been.
Okay.
But I don't believe in the just vaporizing anything that comes close to it unless it's that classified and crazy of information where they'd kill anything on site.
I just think that it's really weird. So, like, yes, I understand why they would put it there because it's right near this big trench that submarines it would be great for a submarine to be able to go explore a really deep part of the Atlantic. But why such a heavy designation for a standard military base is strange, especially when it's not a big place. Like, the population of the island itself is 8,000 people. It's literally Stranger Things in Hawkins, Indiana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a little no shit town that all of a sudden has this huge, crazy military base that's a U.S. based base as well.
Yeah, it's also, yes, we don't own Bermuda, right? We own Puerto Rico.
No, we don't have anything to do with that.
It's not American waters. We just probably own it, but don't tell anyone kind of thing.
I like this one a lot. Not that I necessarily think that it's what they say, that it's like a underwater Area 51 where they're recovering UFOs that are underwater, or I guess they would be UAPs at that time.
What a weird fucking angle too that they decided to change the name. Like, you know what? We're going to change the name.
Because of this, dude.
Yeah, because of this.
Because of shit like this, man, where they're like, nope, anomalous phenomena. They're not always flying. Sometimes they're ripping through the water. I don't fucking know, dude.
True. Speaking of water.
Do we think that the Bermuda Triangle's reputation is useful because it kind of keeps people away, and it's like, oh, don't go there, bad things happen, just because they don't, kind of like Area 51, hey, don't go there, bad things happen.
Yeah, but Area 51 everyone wants to go to. Where Bermuda Triangle,
remember a couple years ago when they stormed it or tried to?
Did you ever watch that documentary? It was fucking
I did
awesome.
not. I have to watch it though.
Really?
I remember you and me were gonna go.
sounds about right. We joked about it. Yeah, I was like, dude, I would go if you went.
Remember, I can't remember, just the greatest converging of people to storm Area 51 or something.
You should watch it. The documentary on Netflix. It has the one of the guys that wrote Talk to Me and directed Talk to Me.
Oh, really? One of the Philippus?
Yeah, he's went and stormed, and he's one of the main people in this documentary.
No way.
Thing. Yeah. They don't explain who he is. They're just he's an internet influencer. Yeah. And I'm like, that is fucking, that's the guy that fucking wrote Talk to Me. I knew it.
That's crazy.
Now, like I was saying about underground territory, we have to talk about Atlantis.
Bam.
Not the nice, wonderful water park in Jamaica, but the actual Atlantis.
Is that a thing? Have you been there?
No, but I want to. It looks sick. It's literally they named an entire water park in Jamaica Atlantis, which is great idea. Great idea.
That's pretty sick. We're not far from there.
So the legend, when Atlantis sank, it sank in the Western Atlantic, probably right under what's now called the Bermuda Triangle. The Atlanteans used massive crystals as their primary energy source. The crystals went down with the city, and they're still active, still emitting bursts of energy that disable modern ships, planes, compasses, and electronics. Stupid? Yes, but here's where it gets weird. The Bimini Road, discovered in 1968, just off the coast of North Bimini Island, a straight, regular, rectangular formation of stones running along the ocean floor underwater. Looks uncanny, like a man-made road or wall. Geologists examined it and concluded naturally fractured beach rock.
Sure.
So in the 1930s, a famous American mystic called Edgar
Edgar Cayce.
Cayce. No, not Cayce.
AKA
the Sleeping Prophet, predicted that evidence of Atlantis would rise from the ocean near Bimini in 1968. Bimini Road was discovered in 1968.
Boom, dude.
What?
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Okay.
Do you know the story, Edgar Cayce?
No.
He was this like kid who was born or like in his childhood, like had an accident that pretty much rendered him unable to speak and would enter, like in his later life, would enter these trances and give these predictions. He's from somewhere in the South. Like you can find kind of like videos on it of how it would have gone, but like he's a Southern boy who goes into these trances and gives these crazy, wild predictions. Like he's not Nosferatu. Who's the guy? Nostradamus. He's just like, yep. And in the year this and this will happen. This and this. Anyways, he made thousands of predictions. He made hundreds about Atlantis specifically. Something had to eventually be correct. At some point.
Yeah. It's like we said about when you got to go to prom, dude. We've said it in multiple episodes. If you ask 100 girls, eventually one of them's going to say yes.
Exactly. Me and Edgar Cayce are pretty much the same guy. Anyways, he made like so many that like I think it's really weird to specifically say that the evidence of Atlantis would be coming to fruition in 1968. But again, you make so many, like thousands of predictions that I guess you get one right every now and then.
Big question is, did he predict that Jamaica would make a Atlantis themed water park?
No, but he did predict the catchphrase "Boo white man, hooray beer" that was the slogan of the Jamaican lager Red Stripe.
Did he really?
No. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you fooled me.
Man. Hooray, beer. Okay, so I think we can move on from every case. I think that it's possible he may have had some foresight. Pretty much what they're saying is that the Bimini Road is a bunch of rocks that are in a rift formation.
Interesting.
But it is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So some Bermuda Triangle theories sound completely insane and turn out to be real science. Maybe this is one of them. Now, there are large pockets of methane hydrate, frozen compressed natural gas, trapped in the Atlantic seafloor. Most of the time it stays put, but sometimes it doesn't. A sudden methane release sends a cloud of bubbles surging up through a water column. Now, here's the science. Water full of bubbles is less dense than water without bubbles. Obviously, a ship floating over a massive methane release has less water to displace, it loses buoyancy, and it sinks almost instantly. It's not fringe science. Australian researchers literally ran lab experiments with scale models, confirming that a methane release can sink a vessel in seconds. So the theory that may be occurring for specifically the boats that are being lost in the Bermuda Triangle is these methane releases come from the ocean floor, and instead of the ships traveling through water, they pretty much travel through air. And what's going to happen? They're going to sink. And then when those bubbles stop, the entire ocean just surges back over the top of it and completely capsizes the entire boat without it even having to be submerged. It like instantly submerges itself because it drops hundreds of feet within seconds. The Bermuda Triangle, pretty much from this theory, is saying that the Earth has been farting on boats, and that's what's been causing massive damage to specifically the USS Cyclops.
No, it
potentially
sounds like the Earth is sharding because it's like farting and then it's trying to like quickly suck it back up to hide the evidence.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you don't keep a fart going, so it's like you fart and then you stop, but like gravity is pretty much disappear or like gets exponentiated because water tension holds things above gravity.
Yeah, but when have you farted and it sucked your pants back up like from your farts? I know you're not a big fart guy.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
It's never
probably
happened.
I don't know. Yeah,
Unless
that's what I'm saying.
You pushed a little fart out and you shit your pants a little bit, and so you try to like push it back up, try to suck it back up your butt. That's what I'm thinking.
Like, oh no. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. So it's like
that's where I'm getting at.
And then it closes it, right? Because if it was just open,
yeah,
I see what you're saying now. Yep, it has to pull the little bit of methane or whatever material was pushed out back to seal it. And that's what closes it, which causes it eventually to close on top of, say my head is the ship. It goes like this.
Yeah. You're getting sucked back in.
Yep. Okay. So that could have happened to a lot of the ships in the Bermuda Triangle, maybe even specifically the 309 men on the USS Cyclops.
Ooh. So here's our last theory for what the Bermuda Triangle might actually be. Now, we've done the conspiracy. We've done the magical crystals. We've done the methane farts from Earth. Now let's tell you the story. Even sober, we cannot fully explain. Are you drunk? I'm not drunk, dude.
His name was Bruce Gernon. His name was Bruce Gernon. His name was Bruce Gernon. His name is Robert Paulson. As far as we know, he's the only living person who has flown into the Bermuda Triangle, experienced a phenomena that he could not explain, and came back to talk about it. Now, on December 4th, 1970, Gernon, then 25 years old, was an experienced private pilot flying his small aircraft from Andros Islands, Bahamas, to the aforementioned Bimini. Well, with his father and a business associate were the passengers. It's a routine trip. He made it before. Calm conditions, clear weather on that day.
About 15 minutes in, Gernon notices an unusual elliptical cloud formation ahead of him. He climbs to fly over it. The cloud climbed with him. He climbed higher. The cloud kept growing. He banked to fly around it. The cloud eventually expanded literally. It grew faster than he could maneuver, and it was, in his words, chasing him.
So eventually the cloud closed in entirely, and Gernon found himself flying inside of what he would later describe as a tunnel of cloud. Now, it was a narrow corridor of clear air surrounded on all sides by gray walls of cloud or vapor. The aircraft's instruments, like Jamie mentioned earlier, began to malfunction, spinning entirely. His electronic navigation was producing readings that didn't make any sense. He flew through the tunnel, and then he came out the other side.
And he was hundreds of miles from where he should have been, and he had arrived hours before he should have. He fucking flew through time.
He literally flies through time.
Oh, flight time from Andros to his destination was 3 hours and 3 minutes. He completed it in roughly 45 minutes. His gruel gauges showed, I know, right? His fuel gauges showed him consistent with the shorter flight, not the longer one. He did not lose consciousness. His passengers experienced the same thing he did. All 3 men reported the same impossible duration. All 3 are on record.
Now, Gernon has since flown that same route again hundreds of times before and after without any unusual experience. He's been working as a pilot for over 50 years. Apparently he's sober. Apparently he's articulate. But definitely he is still alive today telling this story. And the story has never changed.
And right now,
this phenomenon.
We're live with him.
Bruce Gernon, welcome to the show. Man, I really thought you were going to just surprise me with that one. I was going to I would probably sharp my pants.
It's like you were going to suck a fart back up your butt.
Yep. I was going to fart and then suck it right back up. So he calls the experience electronic fog, and he has written books categorizing similar reports from other pilots. Nobody, sober or skeptical, has produced a satisfying explanation for what happened to him on December 4th, 1970. Jamie, what the fuck happened here?
He flew through time. He flew through a time cloud vortex. That's the only explanation. Through the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if they all just jumped through a time vortex and some of them never got back? And then he happened to be lucky enough to get back.
Dude, we are circling back to the Montauk Project.
Yeah, you think so?
It's the same thing.
The Philadelphia experience, that's what you're thinking?
Yep.
Whoa.
Traveling through time, through space. We solved it. I don't really know. We can probably end the episode here. Just kidding.
Sounds like an 80s. That sounds like an 80s like show, like Quantum Leap. Traveling through time and through space. It's the Bermuda Triangle. But what a magical place. It's the Bermuda Triangle.
And everyone is this.
I would do one of these. And then freeze, yeah.
I do one of these.
Exactly. It's the
with Jamie.
It's the Bermuda Triangle.
Peter.
Right. Where were we?
One of these. All right. So we do have a couple other theories of what could possibly be what the Bermuda Triangle is. We have hexagonal cloud air bombs. Now, meteorologists noticed that cloud formations producing 170 miles per hour downward microbursts actually happen in this place. It sounds fake. It is real. Apparently, there's just these weird things that happen in the air that just like throw planes downward. Doesn't explain boats at all. We have classic, the aliens. We barely even talked about it. Yeah. The air, like it's just sucking it up. Like there's no fart before. It's just sucking it up. Or maybe the fart comes first and then.
Or it's just like
I wonder if they travel in
fart. Oh, because we're talking
time
about
farts
coming
you
from.
Just termed. I've never heard that term before, but I think you did it.
Yeah, but it's coming from the air and the ocean.
Blasts.
And it's just like a blast each way. So yeah, it's
time farts.
Parallel. It's a line of time farts that pushes people into the future.
Wow. I've never thought of it that way.
It's the Bermuda Triangle.
So we have also aliens for sure. We have an underwater UFO base apparently, and Close Encounters pretty much set this one up completely, so we don't have to really explain it. If you want to know what it's about, go watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Steven Spielberg, great movie.
I still think it's a great theory.
Yeah, I also I don't know. I'm not.
We'll save it for the end. You're right.
We have the parallel universe / time space warps, aka, would you call them time farts?
Parallel time farts. Parallel universe time farts.
Pretty much time farts. Sea monsters, which we can really never say no to. There's just the Kraken. There's Nessie. There's Nessie's cousin.
Poseidon. Yeah. Gods.
Yep. So, and lastly, we may or may not be able to blame the devil himself. I don't really have a whole lot of information on it, but why not?
Yeah, you can't. No, it wasn't the devil because he stays out of the ocean because he's made of fire.
Yeah, he burns up.
Yeah.
Or like he burns out. Out.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Than to fade away.
On that note, let's bring this whole thing home. I'm tired of listening to us.
Talk to me, Jamie.
Last question of the night. What is the one thing about all of this that generally creeps you out? Not the funniest, not the dumbest, the thing that you can't quite shake when you turn the lights off.
I think for me, where I kind of land with all of this is that there's certainly, I don't think that it's specifically just that It's a dangerous part of the ocean that has bigger waves. We didn't really talk too much about this, but there's this massive Puerto Rican trench. It's the deepest part of the Atlantic Ocean. I think it's the reason why these ships may not be getting found, but we didn't talk too much about this. I do think there is something to do with the electromagnetism going on in this specific area where the poles, we're talking about right next to the equator, the poles are maybe pulling too hard.
Poles be pulling, dog. I get it.
Poles be pulling, right? And we're traveling right on the equator. It isn't surprising so much that like we would have malfunctions in compasses and things like that because you are directly center of the earth. It's not pulling you one way, it's not pulling you the other way, it's getting pulled in both ways, so like you really don't really understand what's happening. And then there's also the fact that like maybe there's some time farts going on. I think that's my like I've never heard it called that before, but I did legitimately think that may be the other thing, that like the veil between realities or dimensions is thinner in this place.
So
and that's why we have, and that's why we get the compasses read wrong and things like that.
Yeah. So you're convinced that we just solved it, is what you're saying?
I think time farts is the best way I've ever heard it described.
It's the Bermuda Triangle. All right. That's
What's yours? What do you think is going on?
I am in the same boat as you. I think it's either this, obviously parallel time farts. That's my logo for parallel time farts right there. Or underwater UFOs, underwater aliens.
You think it's aliens? See, I kind of don't. I don't love this one for aliens, but I think I can understand where you would come from.
It's all stirred up now.
Okay.
Obviously, it's the time fart vortex is just sucking and blowing at the same time in the same area, and it's just
Does it bring you back to high school when you played Suck and Blow?
I never got to play that. I wasn't a cool kid. I was in band.
Dang. Yeah, no. Same. Pretty much I was just a nerd. But I did see it in like all the cool movies that I saw, so
it's true.
That was cool.
That was cool.
Cheers to them.
Cheers. All right. Where are we at?
That's how you know you're really cool. If you did that in high school, you probably peaked then. Love you. Congrats. Thanks for listening. Please let us know if that ever happened to you. Has this ever happened to you? At the top of tonight's show, we told you about the man Christopher Columbus, who told you that on the night of October 11th, 1492, he wrote 3 things down in his diary, 3 things that he couldn't explain. And we told you we're going to come back to it. Bam, we're back to it.
The compass deviation of 11.25 degrees. Solved.
Bam, put a stamp on it.
This was the magnetic.
Solved.
I know, by solved when you said almost certainly a meteor. Those are not confirmed words, but we're going to go with it.
Almost certainly solved.
So that brings us to the third thing Columbus saw, the stationary light. The light hovering over the ocean that did not move, didn't drift, and in his own diary was never identified. This is where we have to be honest with you.
There are a few leading scientific explanations for this light. We have bioluminescent plankton, which would be blooming on the surface. There's also a thing called St. Elmo's fire. It's an electrical discharge phenomenon that happens at the masts of ships. And then we also could have just been distant fires on islands that they couldn't yet see on the horizon. Maybe the people on the island of Bimini was just getting after it and partying way harder than anything because the flames were so high that Columbus couldn't see the land. He could just see the fire.
Okay.
But they didn't start the fire.
They didn't hide it, but they tried to fight it. I get it.
It was always burning since the world's been turning.
Had to keep it going, didn't you?
Yep. Okay, so all three of these are technically plausible, but none of these are actually confirmed. 533 years later, we still don't know what he saw.
Maybe he was a drunk.
He was probably drunk.
Yeah.
My guess is that even if they didn't have wine, they brought juice, and that juice definitely was spoiled at that time. So he's drunk.
I'm getting drunk on expired juice out here. All right. Not a certain answer, but just like everything else with the Bermuda Triangle.
So here's where we land tonight. The legend itself was largely manufactured. A car ad writer named Vincent Gaddis pretty much invented it in 1964. And a travel agent named Charles Berlitz turned into a global panic and sold 20 million books about it. Then a librarian named Larry Cush took most of it apart. Now, Lloyd's of London doesn't charge any extra fees for the area, and the NOAA says the disappearance rate is statistically average for ocean travel. And yet,
the USS Cyclops is still down there with 309 men aboard. I think at this point they're probably floated somewhere else, but who knows? Maybe they're all still seatbelted down. We have a theory.
Yeah, dude. They were probably all locked in their rooms by that crazy fucking Dutch dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Go to your room.
German, Johann the German.
Yep.
We have never found the wreck. The Witchcraft vanished within a mile of Miami in 19 minutes on an unsinkable boat. We have no theory that fully holds. Bruce Gernon flew into a cloud and came out hours from where he should have been with witnesses, and he still cannot explain it. And Christopher fucking Columbus saw a light hovering over the water in 1492 that was never identified.
Sailed the ocean blue, my guy.
And it never will be.
So, most Bermuda Triangle cases do have explanations. The legend was built on bullshit, but most is not the same thing as all. And the cases that don't have explanations, those are the ones we want you to take home tonight and think about.
Is the Bermuda Triangle real? Most of it probably isn't, but some of it might be. So we leave that up to you to decide.
Hit us up. Let us know what you think. That's another episode of Horror Whiskey. I said it like that. Company.
Whiskey. Once again, we'd like to thank you so much for listening. If you've made it through what could be hours of babbling, we truly appreciate you. We love you for who you are. Not just because you listen, but just like you don't have to change for her. You don't have to change for him. We think who you are is the most pure, honest,
hey, that's all right.
Honest reflection of yourself, and don't ever go change it. So,
thank you for this insight. I didn't.
But if you do, I can subscribe to this podcast.
Yeah,
comment, tell your friends, tell your mom's friends, tell your mom to tell her friends. Let your dog Bodie watch it. So,
with that,
do we have a cliffhanger? So next week, we're going to do what we always do. We're going to bring you in on a couple updates of true crime. We're going to talk about the new movies that we do. The new movies that we haven't seen yet and we want to talk to you about.
And I'm probably going to spoil a couple things.
You might. He's probably going to watch a documentary, even though he doesn't watch documentaries, and now he watches documentaries, which
I'm into it now, though.
You can't get mad at him.
I'm into it now, though.
Me, as a internet sleuth and internet journalist, convinced him that he should watch documentaries, and it worked. So
it's all your fault.
With that being said, I would love for you to stay weird.
And stay wicked.
But mostly,
and stay wasted. And also stay out of the Bermuda Triangle.
Stay out of that place, dude.